Tonight, an Out Front exclusive. Bill Deblasio meet Bill Deblasio. They even both have the same facial hair. All right, let me explain what's going on here. We first told you last night about how a Times of London reporter mistakenly reported that the former mayor of New York City, Bill Deblasio, who supports Zoran Mamdani, had flipped, really, and was having all these questions about Mamdani's policies, like free buses, childcare, rent freeze. But that Bill Deblasio never questioned all those things because the reporter actually was having a conversation with a different Bill Deblasio. And now the mystery is solved. We have solved it. The Times of London reporter actually emailed Bill Deblasio, a wine importer and former cybersecurity executive who lives on Long Island. And the Long Island Bill Deblasio shared this email with us, addressed to Mr. Deblasio, not mayor, to Mr. Deblasio, which of course is his name. And it says in part, I'm working on an article looking at Zoran Mamdani's policy plans and their estimated costs. I would greatly appreciate your insights on Mr. Mamdani's ambitious agenda, potential obstacles, and whether the sums add up. So Bill Deblasio replied with what he really thinks. And the article was published under the headline, Zoran Mamdani ally Bill Deblasio says his policies don't add up. And there it became, oh my gosh, he's flipping his endorsement. Well, the Times of London did take the article down and apologize after the former mayor called it fabricated. And the Times of London also, later told the New York Times it was misled. So both Bill Deblasios, they can both stand up. They're both here. All right, it is great to have both of you with us. So because I need to be clear, and the only difference between the two of you on your name is whether you capitalize the D or not, let's go this way. Bill from Long Island, let me start with you and what, I mean, when all this story first happened. You're sitting there and an email pops up and, that I just read part of. What went through your head when you first saw it?
Well, it's not the first time this has happened. I've been confused with Mayor de Blasio for many years, going back to 2000 when he was working for Hillary on Hillary's campaign. So I've been used to this. Really amped up, obviously, when he was in office. And people go searching. They send it to my name at Yahoo, my name at Gmail, my name at AOL. They just go searching. I'm on emails with Obama and Trump and everybody. They just try and find the right person. And most of the time I ignore it. I used to ignore it, but I have a little fun with it sometimes. And this gentleman reached out to me and asked me the questions. And obviously I know that ex-mayor de Blasio was supporting Mamdani, and so I just said, let's have a little fun with it. And I even put it on my Facebook. This happened last Friday, just so you know. I put it on my Facebook, and I actually put the email that you have a copy of. And I said to all my friends, come on, let's, should I answer this? And they're like, heck yeah, you have to answer that. So I answered it. I never thought it would get to that level. Like, in other words, I thought somebody was going to fact check it somewhere along the line and call me out, and just say, come on, this is rubbish. And the gentleman, listen, the reporter was very polite, very kind. He asked me, so I wrote out a bunch of things that I thought would be interesting. And then a friend of mine and I, we ran it through ChatGPT a little bit. And it looked good, and I sent it back to him. So I never thought anything of it. And then he answered. He said, "Is it okay if I use paragraphs 2 and 3 of your email, in the London Times article?" So I was like, "Sure." And that's all I said. And I signed it, spelled my name properly, like I typed it. I typed Bill de Blasio, as the reply. I never said I was the mayor. And I said, somebody's going to catch this. And that was Friday. So I never heard a single thing back from the reporter after he asked permission. And all of a sudden, Tuesday night, my phone exploded. They printed it. It went to press. It's so you're in big trouble. I was like,
so Mayor de Blasio, I mean, what do you think about all this? Last night when we were talking about this, before we knew about Bill de Blasio, you were saying there's something missing here that I don't fully get. Yeah. You just got a lot more answers from Bill.
First of all, I'm upset that this guy's better looking than me. This is the problem for me. Okay. But look, I mean, it's funny on one level, Aaron, but there's also, I agree with the other Bill. How did no one check? And by the way, wouldn't you think, major publication, if suddenly I changed my mind, someone would say, why did you change your mind? So there is still something missing here. Why is it so easy for a journalist to get it wrong, never want to see his face, never want to hear his voice? And then the editor should have said, excuse me, what the heck? It's like, show me the reason he changed his mind, which obviously wasn't there. So this says, and we have to really be careful in the future about these kind of fakes, because I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them.
Yeah, and Bill from Long Island, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, I know, by the way, you both have met before.
Yes.
And
Mets game.
at a Mets game,
Yeah.
right? And I think, Bill, you went up and said, showed your ID, said we have the same name. And I know, I believe, at least from what you said about Mamdani, you probably weren't a supporter of his necessarily politically, right? But you got the same name, why not go up to him? But you talk about these messages you've gotten for the mayor over all these years. A lot of them really horrible and nasty, right?
Yeah, vicious. I'd say 98% of the correspondence I've received, and it's just absolutely brutal. Absolutely mean, nasty, angry people. I actually feel sorry for the mayor. It's just people are just horrible, and they tell me they wish I'd die. I'm the worst mayor ever. They hate me. About 2% of it was people who needed help, and those people I responded politely and respectfully to, and I just said, here's a website, for the city you can go to for help. I actually felt bad for these people. They really needed help. But in general, people were just brutal. And in the beginning, I used to just delete them. And then after a while, I used to respond to them. But they knew really quickly I wasn't the mayor. So after a while, what I did was I would respond, and you have to kind of lure them in. I'd kind of answer them seriously, like, oh, what are your concerns about, snow days and why we opened the schools yesterday? And people would write paragraphs to me. And I'd reply. And each time I'd reply back and forth with them, I'd kind of get a little nuttier, like a little crazier in like the responses, like I'd throw a sentence in there that was insane, and like eventually I'd say, why don't you go out there and shovel yourself? I have better things to do than to talk to you.
Okay, you ready to
and
get
then
this
they
all
eventually
going
realized
on?
it wasn't the mayor.
Yeah, Mary, you have any idea?
No idea. And it's like,
Sorry.
I mean, first of all, thank you for acknowledging
12 years.
He's your alter ego. Go shovel it yourself.
Don't shove yourself. I had that feeling once in a while. I wanted to say it, but thank you for saying, because unfortunately this is true with public servants all over the country. Try and do their job, and just this wave of hate that's been true in recent years especially, we got to get rid of it. We got to change it.
Yeah.
We got to change it, because it's not the way.
Especially during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot.
During COVID, especially when people were home, people were home, nothing to do during COVID, and they
saying
just
horrible
were mean.
things. But I just will say, as we leave it there, yes, this segment is hopefully heartwarming and also funny, but I think also important. Two people who don't necessarily agree with each other politically, that you can have that sort of empathy and have that connection even amidst this. And if that comes out of this, that's a good thing. And I appreciate both of you. Thanks so much.
But he's a wine importer. I want to go sample.
Bill Deblasio.
wine
Well,
here.
you know what? You got his email.
Absolutely.
Something
Love
good.
it. Give me a wine. Love it.
Something good has to come out of this.
All right. Thanks to you both.
Our wine is great, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. And next, breaking news, brand new video just coming in here